Last time we got ourselves nearly full subjugation armor, which will combine with something that the keen-eyed among you may have noticed from that episode, to fully unlock the Slavention training method. That something is 95 Divination, the Divination level currently needed to maximize efficiency when gathering divine charges. In today's episode, we're going to be covering the 4-step plan to getting 95 Divination as quickly as possible on an Ironman, then putting it to use to work towards 2 hefty level goals. Part 1 of training Divination is going to surprise no one. Until at least level 70, you want to be doing divine caches every day. We did these until 80 to unlock invention, but the minimum needed to follow this plan is 70. Not much to say here other than get your 2 caches in every day and try not to go insane. Once you have level 70, the next training method opens up. This is the Hall of Memories, underneath the memorial to Guthix. If you have any of these memory strands, then you can use those to teleport straight here from your currency pouch. I took advantage of the core parties ran by the Core Hunting FC/Discord to both get some divination levels and start gathering the aforementioned memory strands, which we'll be using in part 3. Speaking of part 3, it's time to talk about one of the most incredible ways to get divination XP, doubly so if you're a main and can buy the energy you wouldn't be able to gather. This is the engrams used in the memorial to Guthix. Each one requires a different level energy to charge, and then they can be handed in for some absolutely bonkers XP for the time investment. The limiting factor here is being able to prestige, which requires you to get incandescent energy, and having enough memory strands to combine with these energies to charge all the engrams. For now, we're just gathering the engrams we have the level to charge, both for the XP and for the passive effects they unlock, which are going to be crucial in our final training method. And for that final training method, we're going to be unlocking the Ethereal Connection and Time-Worn Memories perks from the Memorial to Guthix. If you can only unlock one of these, then you may need to fill up some of the Archivist memory bots in the Hall of Memories, or prestige the system by collecting all the engrams and choosing the prestige option. As you probably guessed from the Time-Worn Memory perk, our final method is going to be Dungeoneering Divination. But don't fret, you don't need friends for this method to be amazing XP. Before we jump into a dungeon to go over the method, let's cover a couple boosts you can get from Dungeoneering tokens to use in this method. The first is the Scroll of Gathering from the reward shop. It costs 80k tokens but gives you a 25% XP boost to gathering in Dungeoneering. We also want to unlock and upgrade the Gatherer role on our Ring of Kinship. This gives us more memories when gathering memories in Dungeoneering. So the idea of the method is simple. You gather memories in Dungeoneering and dunk them for XP, making sure to use the configuration option to use memories and energy for XP, once you've gathered all the memories on a floor. As for what floor you should do, honestly it didn't seem like any floor size had a benefit over another doing this solo. I got more impact from honing in the range of wisps I was willing to gather. In Dungeoneering, the highest tier wisp that spawns is a Radiant Wisp, requiring 85 Divination to gather. So you can get the best XP rates from as low as 85 Divination. After fine-tuning it, I found that I got the best XP per hour by gathering any tier 60 or higher wisps I found while clearing the floor, these being Vibrant, Lustrous, Brilliant, and Radiant. It's a bit of a balancing act because you don't want to waste time gathering wisps that give too low XP, but also the main limiting factor to this method is finding wisps in the dungeons. So, once you've found the wisp, you gather from it. Ethereal Connection makes the wisp last 90 seconds instead of 60, and make sure to clear out the room of enemies before gathering, as they can interrupt you and prevent the perk extending the wisp. If you do have some friends that want to do this method, then each person who has Ethereal Connection extends the wisp by an additional 30 seconds, so you want to go around and gather together once you've cleared the floor. There is one method that massively boosts your XP per hour here, and it's one I'm not normally a fan of due to suffering from wrist pains, but that is 2-ticking, which is the process of clicking a wisp every 2 ticks to increase your gathering speed. This gives a notable increase in the amount of energies you gather from the wisp, even if not done perfectly, so I highly recommend trying it out given that gathering from the wisps is a relatively low percentage of time spent doing this method. After some practice, fine-tuning what memories I was gathering, and learning how to two-tick the wisps, I settled on roughly 300 to 350k XP per hour doing this method solo, and it's definitely more in groups due to the improvements in dungeon clear speed and the extended wisp timers. To me, this is hands down the method to use if you want 95 divination as quickly as possible. Just don't forget to go back to the engrams once you get a high enough level to start prestiging them. So, now we have 95 divination, what benefits do we get from that? Well, first up we can finish restoring all the memory bots in the Hall of Memories. These give us some useful perks, notably the incandescent one gives you more energy for converting memories. We also get access to the best colony for gathering energy, both because it requires the least energy per divine charge, but also because on World 79 there are so many people gathering energy here that there is a permanently active, fully extended enriched wisp to give you even more energy per hour. There are alternative methods to getting access to this wisp colony, such as going for a spirit yak in your player-owned farm for the ingredients for an extreme divination potion. But to me, just getting the level done and never having to do caches again on this account is the way to go. So now we have all three pieces of augmentable gear, our weapon, subjugation garb and gown, and we have the energy source to keep them going. It's time to talk about the plan for getting 90 invention, and I'm going to absolutely shock no one by saying that we're going on another Slayer grind. That is a rare drop. The Abyssal Orb is way rarer than the Abyssal Whip, so I'm kind of surprised to see that so early. However, it is really, really, really nice to get, and I'm dying. But it is really nice to get, because now if we get a Wand of the Cywar Elders very quickly without an orb, we can still use it. This is only tier 75, but the orb from Hellweir is only tier 80 damage anyway. The tier 90 accuracy doesn't matter for the orb, so it's barely a downgrade. So this is very, very nice to get. Wait, what? Hard? No shot. Heart of the Berserker? That's insane! We need this to make a Reaver's Ring, but it comes with so much homework, we need like 10 Berserker Rings now. But that is such a good ring to get. Sure, our accuracy kind of sucks, but once we get a Hellweir one, that'll be completely fixed. This is so good. So the Reaver's Ring basically reduces your hit chance by 5%, but gives you 5% crit strike chance. And if you have more than 105% accuracy, then you lose nothing for it. So this is so good. There it is, 98 magic. I'm actually going to swap over to training defense at this point. The reason for that is simply because I don't want magic to be my untrimmed cape on the account. I'd much rather it go to Slayer or something else. Preferably Slayer. I haven't had an untrimmed Slayer cape before. I think I've had untrimmed fletching and untrimmed magic in my accounts. My half of doing Slayer until I farm Krill usually resulted in getting 99 magic at Krill very quickly because Krill used to be insane XP per hour for combats. He's now not as insane, but still pretty good. So gonna go over to defense, try and get that up to 99 so we get the Sign of Life. Not that I've been using those anyway. And in addition to the 98 magic, we've also got our Garb up to level 12, so we can go and siphon that. Our Sun Spears at level 10. So we're just finishing up this task, and then we can get a nice big boost of Invention XP. Well, on the bright side, this task will at least have stocked me up on Searing Ashes, and I got to take advantage of the Slayer Helm boost to do so. But I am not gonna be racing to do these tasks. At least not for a while. I'm gonna have the same problem with all the level 96 Slayer mobs, aren't I? Like all the Raptor mobs. Like they're just gonna absolutely destroy me. Yeah, I think from now on, at least until we get a bit better gear, I think Lava Strike Worms might be a skip. Hey, Ganodermic boots. Those are nice. We're gonna need those. Nice pair of tank boots. Now we just need the gloves as a drop, and I'm I don't know how many flakes we need. Another pair of boots. We get spooned on the absolute weirdest things, huh? Wait, what? Fungal comps for portable fairy rings? Fungal comps are also useful for absorbative. So, yeah. Not unhappy with those. 100% say that. That's nearly 1,000 U-logs. Who changed the rare drop table? You know what? I think I need to pray melee against these. These hurt. They also drop pieces of the totems as well. I don't know how I feel about this task so far. It requires prayer. The drops don't seem super special. I mean, mud runes are quite nice. But I think there's very easy ways to farm those. You know, I've actually, this task's grown on me. If I didn't have 100% accuracy on them, it would be a completely different story. This task could easily be just under 300k an hour, which is similar to what I'd get doing Greater Demon Berserkers. But these guys also give good supplies. They take quite a bit of food, and I need to use prayer pots, which is a negative. But I think the supplies I get from them outweighs that. Well, actually, yeah, straight up it does. The snapdragons and the red spider's eggs makes way more super restores than prayer pots I'm using. Because a long-term goal of the account is to go for IFB, but part of that is having a plan for getting the Legion pets. And with Equilibrium nerfed, I don't know if caps farming is the way to go for that anymore. Also, these guys only give 379 Slayer XP each. But apparently the ones with 8,500 life points give 331. But then again, these are apparently supposed to be giving 440. So which one of these do I want to be killing then? Okay, yeah, they give way more than half the Slayer XP per kill and have less than half the health. So there's no reason to kill the ones in the wood. Actually, they're more spread out. They have way more health. Looking at the accuracy, they have more defense as well. Yeah, this is a way better spot for them. Oh, wait, no, it's their... Yeah, okay. The lower their health is, they get more defense. You have to hit them with a flurry or rapid fire. I can use neither of those because I'm maging. Yeah, I'm not feeling Aerits as a task, if I'm being perfectly honest. They hit kind of hard, and you do very little damage to them. Yeah, they're not even 1k XP a kill. Okay, I've seen enough of these. Aerits are not the task you want them to be. Let's go try something else. Gargoyles aren't going to be amazing XP, but we're going to get a ton of money off this, so I'll do them. Also, these guys aren't particularly great XP, but considering barely any supply cost, doesn't seem too bad. Abyssal Demons. Happy with that one. Well, unfortunately, only 101 demons. I wonder why the demon cluster task is so much smaller than other demon tasks. Like, if you get Abyssal Demons, you get nearly 300. If you get Greater Demons, you get nearly 300. But if you get Demons, you get like 100. Oh, wait, hang on, I guess it's because you can use demon tasks for Ripper Demons, and those are normally just below 100 in length. You know, ironically, she spends all the time during the day in this room with me. Just like sleeping in like her little room down there. But as soon as it gets to evening, she's off. So if I stream during the day, we could have puppy cam. Also, we've peaked over 300k Slayer XP an hour at these guys now that we're actually using the right spell. I was getting 250k XP an hour using the wrong spell. Yeah, these guys are so good XP. The only downside with Slayer is the reliance on Vampirism at this stage, but that won't be forever. I have no idea how rare this is, but this is a much better drop than Annihilation. We just got a Kopesh of the Caridian. That is a tier 82 main hand melee weapon. We can upgrade it to tier 92 much later into the future, but that is a pretty nice item to get actually. Dual wield melee is significantly better than two-handed melee for single target bosses, so getting some augmented one-handed options is pretty nice in that regard. As I alluded to earlier, a lot of the Slayer tasks we started unlocking, like Acheron Mammoths, Ripper Demons, Camel Warriors, and Aerits, were just too tanky for us. The Sunspear had terrible accuracy, and the mobs did a ton of damage, so we were a bit limited in what tasks we could do. But on the flip side, we had started unlocking some tasks like Abyssal Demons, Nightmare Creatures, and Corrupted Creatures to go alongside doing Greater Demon Berserkers to add a little bit of variety to the grind. Also, some tasks like Mutated Jadinkos actually turned out to be kinda decent XP, not amazing, but good enough to be worth doing. So we just ended up focusing on trying to do as many of those top 4 tasks as we could, all the way to 99 Slayer. Lamp. Just into Slayer, and there it is, our first 99 on the account, and my first time getting an untrimmed Slayer cape. Okay, there we go, lighting's a bit better. Never mind. There we go, untrimmed Slayer cape. Which, the shadows really don't agree with this once it's flat on your back. I'll have to get hold of one because I want to keepsake the untrimmed cape on this account. 99 Slayer is a pretty sick one to get, even if Greater Demon Berserkers have made it a little bit easier. But yeah, we get so much from this. The cape's kind of nice, teleports to Slayer Masters, but getting the personal Slayer dungeon, we could use that for quite a lot of stuff. Well, that's the first half of the grind. 99 Slayer, we've got the cape, we've got the personal Slayer dungeon, we've got a ton of mobs unlocked, and to be honest, we're still going to keep doing Slayer because there's a few unlocks in just a few not so short levels that we really want later down the line. But the other part of this grind was 90 Invention, which actually has 2 parts. First, at 85 Invention, we unlock the ability to read the Ancient Invention blueprints, notably the Ancient Gizmo blueprints, so we can start using ancient perks in our gear. But at 5 more levels after that, we unlock the ability to boost up to 107 Invention with an Extreme Invention potion and make the Grace of the Elves, which is an absolute killer amulet for training archaeology. Given Ancient Invention also needs 95 archaeology, we may as well get Grace of the Elves, as well as the level for Ancient Invention, knocked out in one go. The gem used to create the Grace of the Elves is known as an Alchemical onyx, which, unsurprisingly, is an onyx that you've altered with invention, mostly using fortunate components, which come from clue uniques, stuff like composite bows and heraldic armor for instance. But you also need to make some junk refiners to turn some of your junk components that you've been getting this whole time into refined components. And then at 107 Invention, combine all of that with an onyx to make the Alchemical onyx. Okay, we need to do a bunch of clue scrolls, and before you do clues, you really want to get the Totem of Treasure. Unfortunately, we only have the middle totem piece, which is the one from the Anachronia Agility course. That's actually kind of a nice one to get early. However, the top is the biggest RNG block for us now because that comes from Big Game Hunter. So it's time to go and do some Big Game Hunter. And here is the last easy hidey hole. So that's all 25 of them built, which is almost half of the hidey holes for just one tier of clues. I didn't realize just how many of the emote steps were in easy clues. Now we just need to wait for the Arcane Apterosaurs to come back out of hiding and try again for the Totem of Treasure. Doing some easy clues, got a few teleports, bunch of runes, and I'm basically just gonna do about 50 easies, open up the caskets. That should be enough fortunates to get us up to 50, and then I'm gonna save the rest for when we actually have the Totem of Treasure because it saves a lot of time, especially with easy clues. Okay, that's actually surprising. there are 25 fortunate items in my inventory, and I only needed 24. So despite the fact that that felt pretty unlucky while opening the clues, those triple and double rolls really came in clutch. Now we're going to disassemble this all and rack up the fortunate components so we can go make our alchemical onyx. Yeah, there we go. 50 fortunate components on the dot. I guess one of those wasn't actually a fortunate component. Oh, the black plate skirt G was not a fortunate component. It was a knightly component. Well, thankfully, we still have 50 fortunates, so that does mean we had 24 on the dot. That is so lucky. I can't believe how exact I was with my numbers there. That never happens. Okay, we're going to use the extreme invention and discover... We'll discover junk chance reduction, because why not? There we go, 90 invention, and we can discover an alchemical onyx. 200k XP for discovering that, nice. And now, if we go to miscellaneous support, we can create an alchemical onyx. 1 onyx, 50 fortunate components, 50 refined components, and 10 precious comps. There it is. Now, I'm going to utilize the rest of this boost to quickly just discover everything I can. And then we will get to making the Grace of the Elves. Not sure what happened here, but all my recordings for a bit have like the first 20 seconds or so chopped off, which is kind of annoying. But we got the crafting level boost and made the Grace of the Elves, so here we are pulling out some porters to take advantage of its first effect. It can hold up to 500 porter charges, and for those who don't know, porter charges basically just send stuff to the bank. When you're doing archaeology, this will just automatically bank your materials. And here we go. By restoring the stuff we've already gathered from the Saradomin spot, we have got up to 60 archaeology, unlocking the Centiston dig site, which we'll be going to shortly, but most importantly, allowing us to use our Dragon Mattock. So this is what our archaeology setup is currently looking like. Dragon Mattock with Honed For and Imp Sold Free, a Grace of the Elves, our archaeology journal to teleport around, and a soil box because we don't have an auto screener yet, but that needs 70 archaeology, so it's time to get to work. And with that success, I think it's time to end this episode. We have achieved quite a bit, to be honest. Our first 99 on the account, up to 90 invention already. That Sunspear has been putting in absolute work. And we've made our first alchemical skilling item in the Grace of the Elves. Next episode, we'll be diving into how we're going to be utilizing all of that. But for now, if you liked the video, you know what to do. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll catch you again next time.